Everybody can go. Everybody can go. Everybody can go.
Hey guys, hey, and welcome to episode 10 of the Everybody Can't Go podcast. I am your co host, all by my lonesome tonight, Whiskey, and I'm here to talk about all the things. This podcast is here for your Be About It journey. In this day and age, as everything is toppling down, we want to talk a lot about healing and what it is to be better people and to show up in goodness and offer grace and love and empathy and all of those things. But none of us are really about that life. So this podcast is for the few of us who actually are. And it's a place for us to commiserate and talk about the journey. The journey is difficult. You will lose a lot of people on the way through many avenues, through death and loss, through leveling up and realigning, outgrowing people, downright nasty fights with folks who just aren't going to make it to your next level. So that's what this podcast is about, coping with your level up journey, meaning on the spiritual level of what it is to day by day do the work to heal yourself and heal and love on others. So, all that being said, my co-host is not here for this evening. We're gonna pray traveling mercies for him. So shout out to Lou Rowe. We are coming up on our season finale, which will likely happen the fourth show, the fourth Thursday of this month, July 24th. I'm discombobulated. I'm not gonna lie. There's a lot happening. Um, we have covered a lot of topics on the podcast. I feel like we've been a little dude centric lately. So I'm really excited about today's guest. I'm really excited for the conversation. Um, because this is my homegirl and this is a conversation that we need to have. I know for me, in this day and age, almost there, not yet, in this day and age, it's difficult to be a woman. Specifically, I feel the brunt of what it is to be a Black woman. And I feel like we like to throw out the sayings, but we don't want to talk about what that actually means. And the thing that we throw out in the Black community is the Black woman is the most unprotected. And Black women collectively go, yeah, we know. But we don't seem to have the conversation about what it means to be unprotected. And now, especially, I don't know if it's because I'm in my 40s now or because of everything that's happening in the world now, that I see it more and I feel it more, what it means to be unprotected. And for me, on the lover girl side, on the soft girl side of feminism, that's where my art lives. That's what I talk about, what it is to be a flower withering away because you are unloved, you are unseen, you are unprotected. And beyond that, abused and not seen as a person. And Black women get it doubly because we are double minorities. And it's been a tough thing to kind of communicate to other people who are not oppressed as much, that this is a difficulty that we deal with every day. So I look forward to bringing our guests up. We'll get to talk about this, and we'll get to talk about how it feels a little weird to be focused on feminist issues as all of these systems are toppling down. Capitalism is coming to a violent end. Patriarchal systems are toppling down. So they're all intertwined, right? And we feel it, especially in the country that we are in. We feel it, but I definitely want to talk about with this guest today about what it is to continue the feminist movement and how important it is to continue the movement when the world is burning down all around us. We need to take our matches and light it on the fire of all the systems burning down and still carry the torch of feminism. So I am looking forward to this conversation and I'm ready to introduce our guest. We have a very, very good friend of mine, a feminist voice for liberation, support, and truth telling. Through her content and community building work, she helps girls and women exit the cult of patriarchy and reclaim their autonomy, joy, and power. Angela brings heart, humor, and clarity to conversations that challenge the status quo. And she does it all with the support of her 7-year-old dog, Bellamy, and her three brilliant nieces who inspire her every day. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome my co host for the day, Angela, Reclaiming Dominion. Love that title.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
I'm glad. I am so this is a facade, right? Because you are ruthless on your TikTok. Well, I wouldn't say ruthless, but we'll get into that a little bit later. I'll just say that me and you go way back. I've known you since I was maybe 18, 19.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
16, 18, something like that.
yeah, so you've known many iterations of me and we've always had like these kind of conversations about what it is to be a woman, what it is growing up in the SDA church, what it is juggling like the patriarchal contradictory I guess ideologies that are in the Bible and how do we navigate that as like essentially like children of preachers and like we were deep in it. So how do we live this life while reading this Bible that we don't necessarily agree with all of its ideologies? So we would have so many debates that have evolved over the years, and I feel like this is probably the most in alignment we are, but I'm still like I'm a little pick me. I'm a little bit. It's in my bones.
No, you are a complete. You have come. I mean, and I don't want to be like I'm judging you as in like in my estimation you have come so far in a condescending way, but the evolution of from literally like when you're 18, 19 to now
Yeah.
is like when I was texting you about what I was doing on TikTok and you're like, this is important feminist work. I was like looking at Naomi's whiskey said your government name, my bad.
That's okay.
I was like, is this the right number? Like, what is happening?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well that's the thing. I've always considered myself, well not always, but going into like deeper into feminism work and these talking points, I realizing where you are in the spectrum. And actually you were the one who clarified this for me is that feminism is once you hop on the train, it's more like you're opting into the idea that women can have choices for how they want to show up. So I advocate for choices that other women want that I don't necessarily want. Like I want your last name and I'm trying to make you a meal and you know, partially. That used to be me. I'm 40 now and I ain't making nothing. So that has evolved, but it's been interesting having these debates. And when I found out that you were on TikTok, so the funny thing is my favorite hobby is like going on YouTube and watching these feminists do these call-in shows where the men call in and debate about like feminist topics. And I found out that you were doing similar work over on TikTok and I was like, are you kidding me? I stand. Like,
Yeah,
how
I
did you get
know.
into this? What made you want to do this?
Well, it's funny because I kind of backed into it. Like years ago, I wrote an outline of like 10 episodes of a podcast I wanted to do
Hmm.
that had to do with feminism slash egalitarianism. So I am a feminist, but I also say egalitarian because so many people get tripped up by the word feminist and they're like, oh, you hate men. That means you hate men. And so I'm like, I do not. I just think
First
that
of
we're
all, yes,
equal
no.
to men. And I was literally challenged to a boxing match the other day by a man because I said that I'm equal to him. So that's where their mind is. So anyway, so I just posted one topic which talk about last names. The topic the podcast episode that I recorded was a husband should take his wife's last name.
Ooh.
that dates back 19 years where that first started. And
Right.
so I started going on other people's panels, just, you know, commenting everything. And I was like, wait, I want to have my own panel. But then the way TikTok is, you have to have a certain amount of followers, and I had just been casually scrolling and everything. So then I
Yeah.
tried to build my followers up so I could start going live. And so it kind of just backed into it, and I love it.
Well, it's perfect for you. I mean, just the way that you command the mods, they have a lot of respect for you. I noticed that the mods are like they're like the army. They're the army that backs up the queen when she's ready to go out in battle. And I feel like I've noticed from watching like a bunch of these on YouTube and stuff that the mods usually reflect the person whose channel they're on. So your mods are really respectful to you, to the
Yeah,
men.
for
May
me.
God have mercy on them their souls.
Yes.
But they're very respectful, and they even they don't curse, which I really like. They have a swear jar. So I was on one of your lives, and you had to leave for a second, so your mods took over. And in your absence, if they curse, they have a swear jar and they send you money. And I love that. Like, that's how you show people how to respect the queen. Like, get into it.
Yeah, they're really good. And I think I have like 14 or something.
Mhm.
And so I don't message them because they do it for free, which when I first started, I was like, so moderators, they just show up and do this for free. Why? You know,
Yeah.
because my lives go about 6 hours. The longest
Yeah.
was like 10. So that's a long time for people to be sitting there for free.
But if
And
you're gonna be on it anyway and you're passionate about the topic, it makes
yeah.
sense.
Yeah, and so they really help because, and as I have started, because I just started going live in March, so it's still very
Mhm.
new for me, and
Yeah.
a lot of them have a lot more experience, and men inherently don't respect women. I mean, it's just taught to them in patriarchy to not respect women, to talk over women,
Period.
to interrupt women, and then you have topics that are speaking directly to them in a way that they don't like, because they don't like to be spoken to directly by women. They don't want to be challenged. They don't want to be told, no, stop talking, you know, stop talking over me, you know. So that's
Yeah.
not my personality. And so I have learned a lot from my mods too, in terms of just stop talking. You're cutting me off, you know. And I'm just like not that type of person. But
Yeah.
this topic, this and animals, as you know, I am uncharacteristically kind of like firm and more assertive than
Yeah.
any other topic, because I'm not a confrontational person. But this brings it out of me. Like
Yeah.
as soon as anybody gets up there and they start saying women are equal to men, they're gone immediately. I'm not
Yeah.
talking to any man that says he's not equal to me, because I'm not trying to convince you of that. What am I going to
Of
waste
my
my time?
worth. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I
So
understand completely.
yeah, so setting boundaries and trying to have conversations, and it's been a really interesting experience, because there have been men who have been like, I watch your lives and I'm learning a lot, and you know, I'm raising young children, and even ask me like, what do you think I should do? How should I talk to my children, or how should I address this? Or a mother the other day said, I'm starting to think about differently about how I'm raising my 6-year-old son and how I was raised, and
Yeah.
gender and all of those things. And so I didn't have a plan when I really started doing it. I just wanted to talk about these things. And so it's been really fun and eye-opening and educational for me too.
Yeah. No, and I think it's important to talk about it because the direction social media is kind of going is where like you can keyboard warrior and you can type, but there's a different level of interaction when you're doing call-in shows and people you have to hear people's voice and you can hear people's reaction to what you're saying. You can hear them rejecting solid information in
Oh yeah.
facts in order to believe what they've been conditioned to believe. And you can hear it happening in real time. Like that is, and now you're doing video. Have you had people call up and show their faces?
No. We just don't let people we don't know show their faces, because
Yeah.
have a tendency of showing things that should not be seen.
Oh,
So
yeah.
they turn off their cameras if they come on camera. But yeah, they could definitely come up and speak.
Yeah.
A lot of them do stay in the comments and just thumb thug, as they say. You know, they just troll the whole time and very rarely come up.
Yeah.
But the ones who do, um, it can be frustrating because one of my mods actually suggests we have a safe word for when we kind of all get like a little overstimulated or triggered or something. We
Yeah.
a minute, we turn off the comments, a minute of silence, just kind of reset, because they can be heavy topics. People do get heated, people get upset, because we're talking about a whole gamut of things, the way men and violence affects women and children,
Yeah.
and the way that they allow it and is pervasive, and
Yeah.
our culture permits it and it's
Yeah.
expected to a certain extent. And so it can get intense, especially when you're doing it for 6, 7, 8, 9 hours.
Yeah.
It gets to be a lot.
No, I feel that. And I think the thing that I also love from the lives I've listened to is that you all have a lot of empathy. And I respect the empathy plus the boundaries. Because once I get into my empathy bag, I don't have no boundaries. I'm just like, oh, come here, baby, you poor baby. But there are sometimes you can tell the men call in because honestly, and I want to know if you agree with this, I feel like some of the men call in because they want to interact with women.
Oh yeah.
I feel like they want the feminine energy. And I feel like
Yeah.
this is probably the only interaction that I get to have with women. So I'm going to call in and you can tell like how they sort of, and the ones that get me are the ones who call in who fake agree with the topic. And
Yeah.
then and then they start snarling. They're like, no, I agree that women should be equal. But what about,
Yeah.
it's like,
They'll even just be in the comments and just be like, pay attention to me. Look, why aren't you answering my question? It's like, I can't read and talk to somebody. So if you want to speak, come up on the panel. And they won't, but they want attention. Are the ones who come up and someone else will be speaking, because I've just started the last 3 weeks doing one-on-ones. So I speak to one
yeah,
person at a time and I'm on camera, one
yeah,
person at a time for however long the conversation goes.
yeah.
But, and then I
Oh,
go,
I love this.
yeah, and then I go to an 8-person panel after. It's just kind of depending on how the flow is going and all of that. And then I go to an 8-person panel, and so more people can come up and share their views and everything like that. But they will come up and just start speaking, even if somebody else is talking, because they're like, "Well, I'm tired of waiting. I just want to speak. Well, listen to me." It's like, are you 3? Like, what are you doing? Like, because
Yes.
we do ask their age, because you have to be at least 18 to
Mm.
be on TikTok live. And I do have a 21 age limit, because we were hoping that would make a difference. But there have been 60, 70-year-olds up there that it doesn't matter.
That
So
give that 18-year-old energy. Yeah.
yeah.
It's like you're a
So
dad. You're somebody's grandpa on here
girl,
arguing about. You saw Keith Sweat was like, I needed women don't cook and clean anymore, sir.
no, there was this one man when I first started. You could see his little profile picture, and it was this full-on white hair, and he was trolling us. And I was like, if my dad was doing this, I would be so embarrassed.
Mortified.
I was like, I can't even imagine it. I can't even fathom my dad trolling somebody on TikTok. I was like, I don't even know what I would do. I was like, I would question who I am as a person. I was like, you're a whole father, a probably grandfather. You're trolling people online. Like he's like, yeah, I'm 67 years old. It's like, you're proud of this. Okay. Okay.
Well, I find that's the age group that's kind of perpetuating this a little
Yeah.
bit. Like, and especially like my daughter, one of her teachers, like in his late 60s, 70s, and he's talking about how he picks on the black girls in the school, in the class, and then he talks about how the black boys should pair up with the Hispanic girls. And yeah, and he has all these weird red pill talking points, and it's like, you're a teacher. This is highly inappropriate, and you're in your 70s. Like, at what point do you, I mean,
Never.
well, and that's what do you think that they're fighting for? Do you think it's like they feel the patriarchy crumbling and it's like a let's fight for this?
Yes, because men say every day, we gave you back your rights. Well, you're the reason that you have your rights. We should take them back. We're taking them back. Like that's what they say every day to us.
That's
Like
the definition of a trauma bond. Create the problem and then solve it, and then they
exactly.
become addicted to that solving and chaos loop.
Well, white supremacy and the patriarchy are intertwined,
Oh
and
yeah.
so for especially poor men, poor white people, all they have is their identity, the white identity, or their identity as being a man. That is
Yeah.
what gives them the hierarchy in society. That is what gives them their identity. So many of them are so intertwined with the identity of masculinity, they can't
Yeah.
even acknowledge that, masculinity and femininity are social constructs. We
Mhm.
all have a mixture of those ideals
Yeah.
or whatever those traits are. We all have a
Yeah.
mixture. All been conditioned since birth, when they
Yeah.
put the little girl in the pink and the little boy in the blue, and strapped gave a toddler a little doll for her
Yeah.
to become a mother at 2, and the little boy. I mean, like it starts immediately.
Yeah.
So they cannot wrap their today my topic. I don't know if you want me to say what my topic was, but I was talking about men and violence, and I was
Mhm.
saying that because they say that they're very logical and not emotional.
What's happening is very logical
I
in
know
our
women
country. Super
are
logical.
very emotional and are not logical. And so, and they say, but they commit crimes because of testosterone, but not because of emotions. So they're not committing crimes because they're emotional. It's because of testosterone, and they're logical. And literally having men say repeatedly, well, yeah, they're experiencing emotions, but that's not why they're doing it.
Well, and I guess I'm so disappointed because I feel like the conversation has become remedial, right? Because if you're we're all humans and we have emotions, one, and then when you have emotions, you're supposed to feel them. That's how you process
Yeah.
them. So the kind of conditioning of men to suppress their emotions is inherently unhealthy, and that's what leads to like the outbursts. That's what leads to the violence, is not processing the emotions. And that's just like Instagram 101. You can read a couple of like memes and be like, hey, maybe, and I feel like there's something that they're not getting, and it's like the social construct is deeply embedded. It's scary
Completely.
almost.
No, it's. I mean, I call it a brainwash or a cult.
It
It
is
really is,
brainwashing. Yeah, oh yeah.
because it starts when they shame little boys by comparing them to girls. Don't
Oh
cry
yeah.
like a girl. You hit like a girl. You run like a girl. So they demonize all things feminine and then
Yeah.
list these traits as feminine.
Yeah.
And so it automatically, like this man said, well, we control our emotions. It's like, no, you suppress them. Those are two
Yeah,
different,
that's not control. Yeah.
and that's not healthy. I was like, it's like if you shake a bottle of soda up and then you take the top off and then it just explodes. So you guys aren't actually processing emotions and feeling them. You're suppressing them, and it just builds and builds and builds and festers. And then it could be something as simple as, someone stepping on your shoe or looking
Yeah.
wrong, or whatever, when men
Yeah.
kind of lose it over the littlest things, that they deem, disrespect for, or as emasculating them or whatever, and they just lose it. I mean, and my point wasn't that women are not emotional as well. I mean, they say that all the time. It's that men are emotional as well, because there's nothing
Right.
wrong with having emotions or being emotional. It's what you do when you
Yeah.
experience emotions that's the issue.
Well, yeah, that's why it feels remedial, because it's like step one, you have emotions. Step
No,
two,
and step
what to
one,
do
they do not
with
agree.
no,
I
you're right.
agree.
Step
They
one is
don't
like,
agree with step
no,
one.
yes. So it's like we can't even have the conversation, and my mind is just blown because it's like, how did we get here? Where I feel like there has been I the thing that I keep that boggles my mind is that I feel that the red pill and men who have these misogynistic ideologies has some really harsh talking points, especially for single mothers.
Oh yeah.
And the thing that I've been able to do throughout my healing journey, which was painful work, look at some of those talking points and some of those negative things that were said to break me down and use them to heal. I've been told by abusive people that I'm emotionally violent. And it was like, you're literally abusive, but okay, let me examine this. And look, I've been told like I'm a bad mother, I need to do this, all of that rhetoric. And these have been things that I've taken to my therapist and actively worked on. So I'm thinking, oh, okay, so now's the time that we can communicate to men the things that hurt us and the things that they can work on. And it's like a brick wall. It's very how do you not lose will, lose faith in humanity? I mean, the hardest thing that I will have to do is raise my daughters to see men as potential prey and
I mean,
also to
predator.
not hate, yeah, I'm sorry, as predators, and to also not hate them, and it's
It's
hard.
hard because they are extremely dangerous. I mean,
Yeah,
that's just
statistically.
yeah, it is. I mean,
Yeah,
statistically, you're more likely to be harmed by your domestic partner than some
yeah,
stranger on the street.
yeah.
Like that is the fact. Those are facts. And so I have decided just in general that I'm not personally speaking to men in terms of my target audience. I
Oh yeah,
on a daily basis. I don't have a
yeah,
problem speaking to men in general, but I mean,
yeah,
like, I'm not trying to reach men. I'm trying to reach
yeah.
girls and women because the patriarchy teaches men to not respect women, to not
Right.
listen to women's voices, to not care about women. We're already overly emotional. I will literally be speaking just like this. I mean, this is my natural affect. Like, and I'm more likely to just drop someone off the panel if they frustrate me than yell at them. For,
Yeah.
and so they're like, "Oh, you're emotional. You're so emotional." I'm like, I'm literally just sitting here talking.
I'd like
But
to throw in that your Myers Briggs is you're literally the logistician. That's your
I forgot
Myers
about that.
Briggs. I never forget because I'm like, how are we friends?
Yeah.
Because my Myers Briggs is like, "La, la, la." Yours is like logistic, logical. Yeah. And knowing you personally, it's funny how anyone can think of you as, yeah,
because
emotional.
because they see woman, they think I'm emotional immediately. They disagree with what I'm saying, and they've said, "Oh, the CIA is paying you." Like, literally, the CIA is working overtime, a
The
raid.
CIA's on your side, buddy.
I know. Because they say I'm being divisive, especially black men. It's like, if we just need to come together as a community. It's like, you guys are the I mean, men in general. I'm not making it a race thing. It's
Let's
because
make it a
it's
race
not.
thing.
It's not.
But the thing, that's the thing, where I struggle in these conversations with black men, and when you get into black community, because, and that's why I think that your show is really important, because it's teaching people how to have tough conversations, how to have discourse, and how to go away from the conversation and think about it and maybe reshape the things that you believe. It's like you said, I'm brainwashing. And that's the thing. It's like all these things that are coming up. And I'll give two examples. It doesn't even have to be about our community. One example is that they're saying that that Black Americans are being xenophobic when we talk about the culture not being the same as from Black people who are not from here and who came as immigrants. And it's not that it's xenophobic, it's that it's a different
It's
experience, so
different
they can't
culture.
really speak to the culture. Yeah, it's a different culture. And if you come into a country where you're taught that if you hate Black Americans just a little bit, then you get proximity to prizes and other things for being that way. People come here and everyone's taught that the culture is F Black Americans and they're dirty, slow, lazy, whatever. And there's all these stereotypes about it. We feel that. We feel the condescension from our other brothers and sisters across the diaspora. So it's like, don't jump to this is xenophobic, jump to here's the conversation about the pain that we've had because this is an actual tension between us. And that's how I feel about like the black men in our community. They want to move forward with like, okay, black rights and social justice, like, but we've been on the front line of all of these like protests, and where have y'all been? And why when we talk about black liberation, it's only we talk about black men, and it's almost like black women are erased. And looking at these systems, the Black Panthers and stuff, why did they fall apart? Because black women weren't being taken care of, respected, loved. And that's kind of like a recipe that you need, but we can't have the conversation. I don't know that we ever get there. That's just my lamentation.
Well, I mean, one of my mods said this repeatedly, and I eventually did it as I asked her, and I did it as one of my prompts, that black men understand racial oppression, but don't understand gender oppression.
Not at
And
all.
I did it. I changed it, and I said that don't. Black men hate racial oppression, but enjoy gender oppression because they benefit from it. They
Yeah.
fundamentally do not think that we're equal to them.
Yeah.
They think that we deserve this lower
Yeah.
place in society. So where society has us is appropriate. So
Yeah.
they do not seek to have us equal to them. I mean, the man that challenged me to a boxing match was black. The first person on TikTok who told me that I wasn't equal to him was black, and then a
Yeah.
black woman also. Like it's like yeah, because she pulled up her laptop and showed me an oil rig and was like, "Do you see any women on here?" And I was like, "What does an oil rig have to do with anything that we're talking about?"
Yeah.
So because women don't typically work in those jobs, it is a completely intellectually dishonest take because we know why women aren't working in these types of fields.
And
But
who
that's a
still
whole
works on
different.
oil rigs?
I know exactly. Do you work on it? He was at work when he was doing his live. He was working like in a restaurant or something. It's like you aren't on an oil rig. Like what? It's so warped and so bizarre. So basically, they just want us to shut up and continue to facilitate their lives, and it's
Yeah.
kind of like a rising tide lifts all boats. So it's like, well, if the black man does better, then the black woman will do better. So make uplift us, and then you'll be uplifted by default. It's like no, no,
I
no.
was personally told that in relationship. And this is how we had to get the pick me out of me. I was like, yeah, that makes sense. No, yeah. And then feeding all that stuff about us being in corporate and getting degrees and stuff as being tools of YT supremacy. I was picking it up. I'm telling you, Hoteps used to love me because it made sense at the time. And then you weave in the spiritual part, right? And I
Yeah.
think that's where I always got brainwashed. And for me, I don't know. I know for you, it was more like a lifelong journey of studying this stuff, getting in the weeds.
19
For me,
years.
it was a spiritual revelation. It was
Mhm.
literally God being like, I'm a spirit. I'm both. So we're
Yeah.
not going to do this where I am a father looking down on you and not seeing you as a person because you're a woman. That's the fallen nature of this world. That's not me. So that had to come to me as a revelation. And then I started to see that, oh, we're all under the curse of Eve. And
Yes.
once you realize who you are in Christ, you come out of that. You're like, oh, these are the rules of the world. This is not how we're supposed to operate spiritually. And this is not how God sees us. But I feel like people keep jumping into these biblical and spiritual talking points when they don't even believe in God. I mean, do you find people are,
Well, I think the thing is that a lot of people in America, especially black people, have some history in the church because
yeah,
the country is majority Christian. So they grew up Christian, they know like maybe their grandparents are Christian. They kind
yeah,
of maybe tangentially related have some Christianity in their background, or they grew up hardcore, one of the
yeah,
other, a lot of them. But I do find it in the secular settings as well as Christian, obviously. I think because that is just what they consider to be traditional is that the man is the head of the household, he's the leader, the woman submits, and they think that's the idealistic way to live. I mean,
yeah,
that's why they're so upset about no fault divorce. They're like, well, women shouldn't be able to just leave if they want to. And
yeah,
it's like, well, why not? And so I think that they use the parts of the Bible that they want. Like I was talking to this one guy who was saying that, he, of course, he was the head of the household and his wife was submissive to him. And so one of my moms asked him something like, so if she committed a crime, would you go to jail for her? Obviously, this is a hypothetical question.
yeah,
Nobody's going to send a man to jail for his wife's crimes. He was like, no.
right.
And she was like, oh, you wouldn't go to jail for her? And I was like, but it says that, I can't think of the scripture verbatim, but basically you're supposed to wash your wife with the water of the word and present her holy and blameless. Like in this
Mhm.
in this analogy, you're Jesus. And what did he do? He gave himself up for the church. So
Yeah,
you're saying that and he's like, well, I didn't do the crime. I didn't do the crime. I was like, Jesus didn't commit the sins. And he was
right.
unalived on the cross for our sins.
Yeah,
So you're saying that you wouldn't go to jail for your wife, something that he said, well, I mean, if I told her not to do it, she did. I was like, that's not the point. You said that you started with the very top of the scripture, but you're not going all the way down to the bottom where now you have to sacrifice. You have
yeah,
to be willing to give up your life for her. So you can't just pick and choose. If you're saying that you believe in you're living the curse, that's okay, fine. You want to do that, that's on you. But then you got to live the whole thing.
yeah.
And they don't want to.
No, because like you said, it's cherry picking and it's distorting what is spiritual. And it's so interesting because I've always been into the whole not submission thing, but the idea that the man leads and I show up in my softest self when I'm with a man who takes charge. And It's so funny how I've evolved because even recently I was in the company of a man and I was like, yeah, I don't like this. Like I've known him for like 10 years, so we had that dynamic and I thought I was just gonna fall into it and just be like, oh, I'm myself. And I was like, nah, like we're a partnership and I this is what I'm doing and this is what you should it just it did not appeal to me anymore because I realized how not only dehumanizing it was, but
Yeah.
how much I had to diminish myself to be in it. And I think that's what it's not only what they're used to, it's just what they want. They want us to be smaller versions of ourselves so they can feel good. And I don't know, for me that's painful. I like
Well,
hate that.
yeah, well, and it is like you said, it's dehumanizing, it's infantilizing. But then the thing is, also the reality is that women usually do most of the work. Women do most of the domestic labor. Most women
Yeah.
work outside the home, so they are contributing to the bills,
Yeah.
and then coming home and then clocking into for the second shift. And men
Yeah.
typically don't do anywhere near as much labor as women. Yet they want to be called the head of the households and leaders, and it drives me crazy. Like I don't know if you saw, I just saw Nick Cannon being asked the names of his 12 children. He couldn't name them all. I think he got to 10, and he was stalling. He was like, well, can you name 12 of anything? He's like, well, and she was like, I don't have 12 of anything.
If I've
And
created them,
I know. I was
you can
like,
do
my
the Partridge in
grandmother,
a Pear Tree song, can't you? You
I
can't.
know.
Like,
My grandmother, when she turned 90 last year, she named all of her children, grandchildren, and great grandchildren in birth order in reverse. I'm like, and she did that at 90. You can't name all 12 of your children. I mean, come on. I it's and then like there's I think it's Jimmy Kimmel who asks dads on the street who are with their children basic information about their kids, their middle names, their birthdays, how old they are, the names of their schools, their friends, and they get it wrong. And they're
yeah.
allergic to stuff, and they don't know it. And you're the leader. You don't know anything
Yeah.
about the color of their eyes. They're standing right next to you.
It's a
It's
gaslight. It is a brainwashing, and it's now that we're waking up to it. It. I wonder if they're awakened to it. They just don't want to let it go, like you
oh
said,
no.
out of my cold dead hands.
Well, because now they have to be likable. So that's
Yeah.
what they want to be wanted. That's why they to minimize degrees and women's advancement. I don't care about your house. I don't care about the degrees you have. I don't care
Yeah.
about the money you have saved. That's masculine. They label
But you don't care about me. You don't care about the things that I've strived for in my life. And it's like it's so weird that you don't understand the social cues of telling someone that. Like if my daughter came to
you're
me and
not
was like,
someone.
"Oh yeah, I bought a house." And I'm like, "I don't care about your house."
You're not someone. You are
Yeah.
supposed to be, and like when they keep saying, "You're my rib. You came from my rib." That's what people in the comment. You're from my rib. It's like you're an appendage to them.
Yeah.
So you aren't someone. You are someone who is there to give birth to their children, to cook and clean for them, and to what they call them a mommy bang maid.
I've heard wife appliance.
Yeah, that
I
too.
didn't-
and, and so and somebody said mule mattress mute. Um,
yeah.
and so, or no, they said
I used to be her. I'm so
mule
ashamed.
mattress maid, and I added mute.
Yeah.
Mule mattress maid mute, and
Yeah.
it's like, well, like, why are you talking so much? Like, there's all this talking. Like just do it. You know how I like my steak cooked. It's like
Yeah.
all they are, and so the thing is, in historically, women were forced into marriage.
Yeah.
Why one of the reasons I hate the last name tradition because it was literally transfer of ownership from the
And
father to
transfer
the
property. Yeah.
husband, and so they were girls. A lot of
Yeah.
times, underage girls being bought essentially by older men, and so women did not choose these relationships, and
Yeah.
now women have to choose to be in these relationships. So that's why they're trying to make it seem appealing. Oh, well, he loves me, so that's why I'm going to be a trad wife, where I'm going to be financially dependent on him and pop out baby after baby after baby, so then I
Yeah.
can't leave if things don't work out. They have to make it seem appealing because women have to choose it now. Before they were forced
Yeah.
into it.
But now I realize that my part of my unbrainwashing journey is to realize that it's so transactional and it feels transactional to me. Like
Very.
my celibacy journey and my stuff with sex, I realized that, oh, I'm giving up my body in this bad contract in exchange for getting some like affection, because men don't want to cuddle you because you're not a person who's gone through something hard who needs a cuddle. You're an empty hole in vessel, and if you want those cuddles, you're gonna have to give up them cheeks. Yikes. Like and I realized that a lot of my interactions with men on any sort of like non-platonic level is transactional. And I wonder if what they think the benefits are. Like what do women get out of this if we are putting so much work into it and they won't even connect and talk to us? I wonder what's going, like, have you had those conversations where they say like what women get out of it? Do they think about what we get out of it?
They think that we get everything out of it. They say women benefit from marriage. They live in this world because
We die younger.
exactly. No, but they live in this delusional land where every woman is a gold digger, even though the average salary is like 50, 60K a year. So you don't have any gold to dig. Gold diggers are not coming after you. They think everyone's getting alimony and all this child support. It's not happening. I think it's like 10% of marriages end with and get alimony, and women pay alimony too. So that's
Women pay alimony too. Believe
yeah.
that.
And so, in 90% of marriages, there's no alimony. 50
Yeah.
guys making 60K are not paying alimony, and the thing is, they think, oh, what? Because she's cooking and cleaning. So one of my new topics is husbands are the real gold diggers because they are gold digging the resources out of their wives, the
Yes.
years of their lives that you're
Yes.
talking about. So
Yeah.
when they have a wife who comes home after working all day and still does $140,000 a year worth of domestic labor, or $185,000 a year if she's a stay-at-home mom, and they
Yeah.
say, oh, well, she's just cooking and cleaning. Oh, okay. I mean, and then I say it's $100K per kid if you want to have a surrogate. All of this, that she put her life on the line every time she conceives a
Yeah.
child. And they're like, well, she would have done it anyway. You don't get a cookie for doing what you're biologically made to do. Like, so what? It's just childbirth.
Yeah.
So they don't think women are losing anything. They think they're making out in the deal.
That is actually, yeah, it's insane, but you don't get something for nothing. And it's almost as if they have gotten so much all of these years and we just can't do it anymore. Like to your point, it's a using of resources, but spiritually it's like a siphoning of energy. That's not how it works. When Eve came from the rib, the first thing Adam did was speak life into her. The first thing he did was pour into her. He wasn't like, where's my sandwich? I'm so glad you're here. Like, so it's almost like they edit all the love stuff out of there. They edit all the protection that the you are Jesus and we're the church. Like they're editing out the actual tender parts that they're supposed to give, the thing that makes us feel cherished and whole and loved, and just be like, no, just give me my stuff. And it's starting to feel insane. Like,
well, it's because they think if they're providing, that's all that needs to happen. If they're making money, which statistically most of them are not paying all the bills.
yeah.
Women are contributing. And so, I mean, and one of the reasons that I love the prompt, husbands should take their wife's last name, for many reasons, but one of them is because it really shows how men think about women.
Yeah.
The potential of me saying that a man should take the position that a woman typically takes. They are disgusted. They are enraged. They're like, I'm not taking some woman's name. That's so disrespectful. I mean, like, I'm like, this is a woman you say you love, right? Like you're talking about her like she's the most disgusting person on the face of the planet. So it's like you can see the way that they why should I? Well, a woman? Well, like I would never.
Oh,
Yeah. No.
like you're marrying this person.
I know. So you're gonna sleep next to her every night, maybe mix your DNA, have a few kids, live together. I mean, like, but you're talking about her like this. Or then the guys that say, well, I let my wife keep her last name, or I let her hyphenate. Yeah. It's like, oh, you did. How nice of you to let her do that.
Yeah. Which is so funny because I think Jay-Z is isn't he Noel's Carter? No, I'm not a fan, but I'm just saying it's funny. Like he would be an example of like the hyper masculine, like culture.
I heard that rumor, but then I don't think he did, but I'm not sure. Some like credit that he had like after some documentary they did or something. It was just Carter, but but yeah, and it's always like so telling when men come up and say, you should change this, just change the prompt. It should say this. They tell me what my prompt should be. Oh, just change the words around a little bit. Like, it just doesn't make sense this way. It's like, no, I said it this way because I mean it this way. And like, well, are you just saying this, or are you this? I'm like, no, I mean this. I believe it. Like, you think this? I'm like, yeah, obviously. Like,
Yeah. And yeah, and that's not how you can be useful. And that's what I feel like. It seems like men don't know how to be useful anymore because they're not doing the work to be
they are
useful. I feel you.
they they are useful. Naomi,
Yeah,
they built the world for us. Don't you know?
you're right. You're right.
Everything you see around you is for us. They
Well,
did.
that's the irony is that they built the world and then they set up these systems, and now the world is like more because of capitalism, productivity. It's more cerebral based, and you need emotional intelligence and
You
intelligence.
don't.
But and so it's kind of like they X themselves out of it because they were building these things, but also not doing the work with keeping up with them. And who is more? They're like, oh, the classrooms weren't really designed for boys. You designed the classrooms. Oh, the work environment, the office environment is not really it's not really for men. It's like it was only y'all in there. We're new to it. So the systems that you've created are more conducive to the way that women are socialized and have been around people and encouraged to not be, sociopaths. So now it looks like we're winning, and it's like you don't understand that you wrote this book. You are
You
the
did.
author of this.
But they also don't acknowledge that patriarchy hurts them too. They're willing to take the hits because they do get some payoff. Women just don't get any payoff. But they're willing to take, like, there was this one guy who he came on my panel twice, and I felt like sorry for him because he was talking about how he couldn't be himself, how he had to
Yeah.
play this masculine role because he wasn't going to get the women
Yeah.
he wanted. He was like, well, if I'm more feminine, then I won't get the women I want. And I was like, don't you want to be loved for who you are as a person? And he's like, well, that sounds good, but that's not going to work. And I was like, he was very, women are born with their value, men have to earn it. I was like, that's not true.
That's not
You're
true.
intrinsically born with your value. You're human. Like,
Yeah.
and they say the value is that basically women can have children and are sexually attractive to men. Like, that's a value, which isn't great either. But like,
That is a curse.
no, exactly. That's not. But it's like, so you attain material wealth or things, and now you have value in
Yeah.
society, and now you have earned the woman that you want. That you're acting like this is a math problem. And
Well, exactly. And it's not that simple, and it's so messed up because who came up with this definition of masculinity? Cuz
that
for me, the men who are considered feminine are the ones that I'm attracted to. It's a gentleness of being a person. It's
being a person.
attuning to other people, having conversation, being emotionally intelligent. Men see that as being feminine and not being masculine. It's like, no, you're a masculine man, you're a man, and if you show up in this way, it's appealing to me because I'm attracted to you. But if I'm physically attracted to you and you are the worst human like most brutal human being you can be just because that's masculinity, that's not
Not
attractive.
attractive.
You're missing. Yeah, and it's like they miss the mark on it, and that's the conversation that I surprisingly had with someone, and they said something along those lines, and I said, yeah, congratulations, welcome to being a victim of the patriarchy. And I feel like they had to think about that for a second, because I don't think they realize that when we say F the patriarchy, we're not saying F men, we're saying F the system that fallen men have created under a spiritual curse. And this system has us all screwed. And it's like there's a male loneliness epidemic because y'all don't know how to be friends. This has nothing to do with us. If we all opened our legs into all the virgins around and all the incels, y'all would still be terrible people because you can't even tell your homie about it because you would, and he'd probably make fun of you or kill you because y'all crazy. Like, I don't know what's happening in that universe. It's really weird, but it's daunting to have to deal with, to be a woman and watch as men are flailing. It's just, I know that's my bleeding heart because on your TikTok you'd be like, okay, he's flailing, bye, click.
Well, it depends on.
Your face
It's
said
flailing,
it all.
okay, but when they're jerks about it, you know, you're gonna have to flail on your own. But the thing is, like, they so closely align and identify with patriarchy, masculinity, and what it has told them that they are. That, yeah, when you're talking about patriarchy, they feel like you're attacking them personally.
Yes.
Feel like you are telling them that something's wrong with them.
Right.
That they are bad. And I think it's because they do recognize some of the behaviors in themselves.
Yeah.
So yeah, you are, because this is what you've been trained to do. This is the role you've been told to play by society. So it's not your fault in that respect. But now you're an adult. Now you have to use this logic you say you have and look and say, does this make me a good person to do these things? Is this the type of person I want to be? And you have to say, am I going to get the social capital by adhering to these masculine patriarchal standards, or am I going to be my own person? And so, like, I just personally, like, I get called masculine. Like, someone said the other day, why is your voice so deep? And I was like, why, are you jealous? It's deeper than yours. Like, like every day they try, and what my bod says all the time, like, yeah, I'm mean, massive, and masculine. Like that's what the way they try to, like, force us back into the feminine.
Oh yeah, the Black women are not feminine.
Yeah,
they're masculine.
You're so masculine. Oh, women want to be men all the time. Like, oh yeah, women want to be men. It's like, no, I have no desire whatsoever.
No.
And I'm a person, and it's really convenient that they have labeled all things basically adulting as masculine.
Yeah.
And everything else is feminine. So you have to pretty much be an airhead, and that's feminine. Just kind of be in your masculine and just defer to him. And I acted like that one time for this guy. He said, no, my girlfriend loves submitting. No, she loves it. I was like, she's been brainwashed to believe it. She's been brainwashed. And I said, let me guess. This is how she goes. Babe, I was just wondering about the decision we're making. I know you love me, and I know you have the best interest for us, but never mind. You'll do what's right. Okay, love you. And he was like, yeah, exactly. I was like, how do I know your girlfriend talks? And I've never met her. We've all been trained.
It's the game that we play. And even if you're not trained, it's just something that I fell into, and I didn't know how. It just became the person that I thought I was.
Well, I wasn't trained by my parents.
Yeah.
It's society. It's everywhere.
Yeah.
And I bet you get more from men if you talk like that. I was like, no, I don't care. That's not, I have no desire to get something from men in that way in general.
Yeah.
And also, if I can't be myself, I have no interest in that person.
Yeah. I think that's the awakening that women are having, is like, we've been living these performative lives in these boxes, and we can't be ourselves. So now we're trying to be ourselves, and men don't like us.
Well, I like us, because one of my prompts is straight men don't like women.
No, I don't think that they do.
No.
Collectively. I mean, I have a lot of guy friends and stuff but even with my guy friends, I can see the places where it's transactional, or I can see the places where, like, there's a disconnect just because of how we're socialized. And it hurts my feelings every time. It's just like, well, it's difficult for us to get there because of how we've been socialized, and there's always a little bit of you're under here. Yeah. And it's heartbreaking.
It's a lifelong deconstructing process. Yeah. It really is.
It's daily.
Since birth, literally.
Yeah.
And so it is and so the first step is to realize you have a problem, as they say. But
so no one's gonna do anything, because that's a doozy of a first step.
Well, I know. And so that's why, like, you're talking about your daughters, like, in general, like, girls and women, I want to try and have, like, a community of support, because the reality is, construct you 4B, completely remove men from your life. They're everywhere. They're half the planet. There are over 4 billion of them. You can't completely, remove them from your life. It's not possible.
Yeah.
So I was, I'm like, I'm not talking to men. Most of them are too far gone. They need, like, literally cult level extra, to be extricated. And they don't care about what we say. They don't care. No. Other men may be able to reach them, but I'm not going to reach them. And some men are on the fence, and I have talked to them, and I can tell some of them are resistant, and and some of them say, some of them have actually admitted, oh, I see what you're saying. I get it now. And then some of them, I can see that they get it, but they're fighting because they don't want to admit they're wrong. And that's a human thing. I don't want to admit I'm wrong, And so, like, maybe there's a seed planted or something, and some of them are just like, I don't give a crap what you say. I'm never gonna think I'm. You're
Yeah.
like, they're just gone, and they don't want to hear it. They don't want to know anything about it, and it's
Yeah.
sad
As
and
we learned
dangerous.
from last episode, that's a sign of low emotional intelligence. And that's the part that, I don't like, because you're not trying to challenge yourself to think
Yeah,
of the plight of other people. And actually, it's such a turn off to me now, because it's like, oh, you have no empathy. And
yeah,
I can't rock with that, because that means you're not even in tune with the human experience. Like, that's the thing that threads us together, is being able to feel each other's energy and be like, oh, that sucks. And they're just like, I don't understand, sandwich, not here. Like,
no, because they think we're overly emotional, so they discount everything we say. And today somebody said that men are different species, and I said no, we're the same species. We're all human.
yeah,
And
yeah,
then one of my moms said he was on a panel where a man called women a subspecies. So a lot of them fundamentally do not think of us as human
yeah,
or whatever. Like I said, we're an appendage,
yeah,
and they're gone. They are gone. And
yeah.
so I don't know if they can be reached at all by anybody,
I It's difficult. I mean, it used to be part of my work to include men. Like, I do similar, where it's like high self-esteem maintenance for women, because you're going to need the support once you unbrainwash yourself,
Yeah.
because everybody hates you. It's not like, yay, freedom. It's like, no, let me see your papers. Like, it's a whole level of unlocked spiritual warfare that comes with it. And always part of it was just like, okay, there's something about the way that I tell my stories that can let men know this is how what it looks like when women crumble in response to your actions, to your callous actions. But it just makes them angry. Like, if I share poems about being cheated on and
Choose
abused,
better.
it makes it, yeah. And you know what I started doing when I have these conversations with men, and they're telling me like, oh yeah, such and such got with a stripper, she got pregnant and all this, like, these are the women that make us this way. I was like, oh, he should have chose better. The amount
No.
of anger.
Oh no, I did. There would be no divorce if men chose better. They lost it.
But
But
it's true.
not completely on. I mean, it's to catch the guys who blame everything on women. And the most vitriol, the worst prompt that I had in terms of response from men, and I don't usually get like upset or anything. I just like drop them. But that one I did a few days before Mother's Day and on Mother's Day. Single mothers are priceless.
Oh yeah. I'm
They
sure
were
they had a field day.
disgusting.
Yeah.
They were disgusting, and that was the one time that I like the closest I came to crashing out. Like some of my
Yeah.
moms, like like Mortal Kombat finish him.
Yeah.
Some of my moms are like that. Like when seen that like art exhibit where there's like a human body that you can only see
Yeah.
the nervous system. Yeah. They like eviscerate some of these guys, like, and that's just not my style. But
Yeah.
that's the closest I got that time.
Yeah.
They're just so disgusting. They're
The
so
vitriol against single moms is heartbreaking. Like, because you're here with the staunch part, I can share the soft part. It is heartbreaking to be treated this way as a person who's trying to raise like the future of like the country. So it's kind of like, for people to treat you this way, to act like you deserved it and you're
yeah,
disgusting. And it's like, I'm the one who's taking the accountability, I'm the one who's raising the children. And
exactly.
then you don't even, there's a disconnect to the emotional labor that goes into raising a child. So it's just like, I had to go back to school. I had to get this high paying job because I'm taking care of these people, because he's nowhere to be found. But still, you're treated as like the low level bane of society, when
Yeah,
it should really be the opposite, because this is
yeah,
a tough lifestyle.
well,
But
yeah.
I
Because
chose this.
I did a prompt recently. Being a single mother is taking accountability, because it is,
Yeah, it is the
and
ultimate version of it.
yeah, and because it's like, well, she stayed. It's like that's not a foregone conclusion. She could leave too.
Yeah.
They always act like the mother has to stay.
Well, now
She
they are, and
does.
that's been hilarious to watch.
Yeah, yeah. When she leaves him with the father, and they're like flipping out because
When they fight for custody out of spite, and then when they get full custody and she disappears.
they lose it. Or the ones, I saw this one woman who she was married, they were married, they got divorced, and she was doing most of the domestic labor. Of course, they got custody 50-50. I can't remember, it was like a toddler, like maybe three or something. It was only one kid too. And so she had 2 weeks off. And
Yeah.
she was just, I don't know if it was consecutive or whatever, but either way, she had a week off at least, and she was just like, felt like she was on cloud nine. She had so much free time, and he was losing it. He's like, he was just like, I can't do it. It's so much work. He did the exact same amount of time, and he was just underwater because they always underestimate how much work the wife is putting in,
Yeah.
and that's why they're the
Yeah.
gold diggers. They are the gold
Yeah.
diggers because they are extracting resources from these women that they say they love,
Yeah.
and they don't have to do it, and they don't expect to do it. They don't think they're supposed to do it. That's why when they say they help out, no, you're
Yeah.
not helping. This is your job too.
Yeah, I think there's some idea that this is something that feeds us. And it goes back to the conversation I had with this guy where he's like, yeah, if I come into a woman's life and she's independent and she's a single mom and she's taking care of her kids, if I come into her life and I add income and I'm sharing the load of taking care of the kids and stuff, picking them up from school, I'm lightening her load, then she should be my dedicated freak at night. And I was like, I'm in my 40s. I would want to do more art. I would be like, oh, you're freeing up my life so that I can be a person and do other things, go to happy hour with my friends. Not like me doing the splits and hanging from the ceiling. Like, what? This is the Twilight Zone. I was like, oh, wow. So this never ends. Like, we really are just objects with holes. It's
No,
frightening.
I saw an S worker, a former S worker on TikTok saying that a lot of men marry for that, to have
Yeah.
continuous smecks at home,
Oh yeah,
because
I
it's
believe that's
cheaper.
why I was married. I 100% believe. I got married really young though, and
Yeah.
that's kind of what the church low key pushes. They be like, better to marry than to burn. And yeah, but I didn't sign up to be like when I was young, sure, but my back hurts. Like, can
But
we
you
watch
also
these
didn't know
murder
that's what you
docs?
were signing up for. Because the thing is, if it's consensual and you both want to do, but if you feel like you're being used and this is all that you're here for,
Yeah,
not what you're there for. Like, you're
yeah,
not a guest worker. And she was saying it's a good return on investment. So he pays 5K for your ring. She said he gets a return on his investment quickly, because
yeah,
because if he had to go out and pay somebody every time, but you're also there giving birth to his kids, raising them, and then he gets social capital because he's a dad. Like, he's
yeah.
a family man. He gets more money
One
at
pig,
work.
one pig. Oh, look at this.
No, and that's one of the reasons I say that, yeah, the husband should take his wife's last name, and if he doesn't, the kids get her last name, because she made them. And they're like, no, I got the seed. It's like, no, you don't. You can't
Yeah,
feed the seed and the fertilizer. Since you guys want to use plant analogies,
yeah,
like, let's and then they want to talk about, oh well, in the lions. It's like, let's stick to humans. Because
yeah.
if we start talking about lions and penguins and giraffes and
Where
pandas,
does this
what
end? Yeah.
animals are we? Why are you choosing which animals? Well, eagles, or cool, like, how are you just choosing random animals? Let's stick to humans because we're human. We do things very differently than other animals. I
And
mean,
we have free will.
yeah,
So, and we can adapt as society and people are changing. So we can cognitively make the decision to change and upgrade ourselves. But I
men
don't.
not to.
Yeah, and I think that's the heartbreaking part is
Yeah,
that just the witnessing how the collective is moving and be like, oh, we have to, what is it, drop kick each other, like jump each other out of the patriarchy. It's like in the Barbie movie. We have to just like show up in a white van and put a pick me in a chokehold and let her know this ain't it. Like and I feel like it's really important work, especially now that the revolution is here. All of these systems are toppling. We don't know what this is going to look like in our country and what's happening, what our lives are going to look like 5 years from now. And in order to unite, we have to have a sense of community. And the thing that distracts me from community every time is the desire to be loved by one of these niggas. Is the my desire shall be for my husband. The thing that distracts me from my revolution, my community work, is the desire for soft touch and for someone to listen and masculine presence. And that's the carrot that they kind of dangle over us, but
Right.
it's not even, it's like you're like, oh, I want connection and physical touch and someone to talk to. They're like, best I got is sex and you make me a sandwich. Best I can do. Like, it's a bad contract. It's just not great for us right now. So I think it's
It's never been
important.
great for us, really.
It has never been great for us. It has never been great. I read this. We need to wrap up soon, but this I read this book about sex. It was about like sex and marriage, and it was maybe written in the 80s. So it was talking to like women who were like in the silent generation and in the baby boomer generation about their encounters with sex. Most of the stories were that they were raped, and then they got married. It's like, oh, he took it, so now we get married. Or
Yeah.
the night they got married, they were raped. Like, there was no like, okay, let's figure out, you're a virgin, let's figure out how this sex is. Like, just take it, just take it. And I was like,
Because it's theirs now.
yeah, because it's theirs now. And looking back on kind of my sexual encounters and experiences, realizing how much I played a role so that it wouldn't be as devastating. That's why I overstand the Cassie thing, overstand it. Like, you overplay the role, you play the role to make it seem less terrible, because someone's just using your body for their joy. This is not intimacy, this is not connection. And I think that's the hardest part, is that we've been traumatized at the hands of men, but we can't talk about it without being male haters. And then I think that misandry is spiritually dark, and I wonder why men don't seem to get, like, we're not here to hate you, but we're pointing out the things that are very scary for us and are literally life and death. So I think it's important to just put a spotlight on it, so that if men want to heal, they have their talking points, and it also just helps women to get out. But I love the work
Misandry
that
isn't
you're
real,
doing.
by the way.
What?
Misandry isn't real. It's like saying white lives matter or blue lives matter. Neither is emasculation, FYI.
I do. The reason why I think misandry is real, um, from the spiritual lens, I see how dark, especially the Kevin Samuels, like, his whole thing, his whole trajectory, even how he died, was God like, we don't play around with this stuff. We don't play around with how we treat women. We don't play
You mean
around
it's
with
not misandry, the hatred of men.
yes, yes, yes. I'm getting there.
Oh, okay.
So I'm saying that's misogyny. Misogyny is
Mhm.
intense. What
Yeah.
I see with, there are like people like Shira Seven and all these other women who are rising up and doing this feminist work. But to me, it's more witchcraft, because what they're talking about is borderline S work. It's being transactional. It's basically feeding into the base nature of men to try to get what, siphon resources from them and get. I think that's dark. That is, there's nothing of God about that. And I know. And
No,
that's my thing, is like, doing this work, I have to stand outside that door and realize that misandry does exist, and I can go there. Because if I wanted to lead an army of women to go out and castrate men and just like F it, that would be easier than towing the line of,
yeah.
how do you respect men, still understand their plight, see them, but also understand that they are your number one predator and you have to guard yourself. It's always a fine line. It'd be easier to just be like, shoot them.
Well, no. So to be clear, I do think that women can hate men. I do think there are women who hate men.
Yeah.
I do think that, like I said, I don't believe in emasculation. I do think that disrespecting men, degrading men, demeaning men, all of that stuff
Yeah.
exists. I'm not saying that it doesn't exist,
Yeah.
but misandry, in my opinion, is kind of like the Blue Lives Matter. Well, Black lives, all lives matter. It's a
Yeah.
reaction to it. So
Yeah.
misogyny comes from, like, you know, centuries, millennia of
Yeah. And
men raping
something systemic.
and
Yeah.
selling girls, and like all this stuff. So the women being like, that sucks, and now I'm responding to it. It's kind of like, that's not.
Oh no, no. But I, holding bitterness in your heart toward men, and even if and I guess this is controversial, even if it's a trauma response, I think it's work that needs to be done because spiritually it's a void and a stronghold where Satan can get in and twist it somewhere. So I think that we always have to do the work of understanding how dark it is, and how ugly it gets in that camp, but not hate them. And that's Jesus work. That's like you're tied to something higher. That's Christianity work. That's not like a secular thing. But that's just my own spiritual revelation that God's creation is not something that you can hate because
No,
for
I don't.
whatever reason he
Yeah,
made them niggas too.
I do not think that they should be hated as a.
Yeah.
I don't think we should hate anybody. Like I think that we're as Christians we're called not to hate. So I do,
Yeah.
and it is hard. It is work to
It's
not.
hard.
It's hard. It's
It's
hard not to hate the current
it's
president. You
really
know,
hard.
it is something I have to work towards
Yeah.
to not hate. And so
Yeah.
I'm not making light of the hate, but when people compare misogyny and misandry as if they're anywhere near each other, to give it a name, you know, to
Yeah.
say like as if women who are saying, yeah, stop raping us, trafficking us, essaying us, DVing us, like
Yeah.
all of the things. And so yeah, now I hate men. I think that's a logical reaction
Yeah.
to it. And I don't know, I've heard of like Sierra, she's like the sprinkle, like I've never seen like a whole anything at first. I've seen little clips and stuff. I don't follow her or anything like that, and I know men hate her you know, because of the
Yeah.
thing. And so
Oh,
yes,
I think what she's doing is low vibrational. That's not feminism. That's just like
does she say it's, I don't know. I know that
yeah.
she says like I guess like use men for their resources and money essentially.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
there's
And
a
that's why it's just like it's a different why are you playing with fire when you can just
yeah,
decenter
just yeah,
men? You
exactly,
can
just
just not you can eliminate men out
just
of
make
your
sure
life.
you don't need to have him. Like, why are you using him for his resources when you're completely capable of having your own? I don't understand that because that's not feminism to me. That
No.
is, you're using. He's gonna use you, so you might as well use him back. I would rather just not be used and be single.
Yeah, I would rather not play this game. I don't want any performative aspects of my life where I'm like, I'm a seductress trying to get like
Yeah,
that sounds exhausting. I want to be in my drawers and just pay for my own rent. Like
yeah, and be with somebody who, if I was with somebody who actually likes me as a person, and it's not
yeah.
a transactional thing, and like it's like, oh well, if he leaves, I don't know what her like if she has a plan for if he does leave, but like so I don't get the point of that, or how you even, I don't even know how you'd want to be around somebody that you have that type of feeling for a relationship with. To me, that
Yeah.
would just feel so weird and hollow and fake. And who, I mean,
But
like, 'cause
but I think that's
very
where
male centered.
the bitterness is being channeled is that you have all this resentment and you come to the revelation that your relationships with men have not been great and that their treatment of us collectively has not been great and the patriarchy like backs this up, then it's like, well, how can I benefit from it? You know, how can I
Well,
benefit from that double standard? And it's like,
yeah, I wonder if she's just really male centered and is masking, because why not just leave them alone and until you find someone that you are compatible with? Because why engage with them in that way unless you feel the need to have a man around? And the only,
yeah.
to me, the only reason that you would be so desperate essentially to have a man around and then treat him that way is because you feel like you have to have one.
That was actually genius. I think you hit the nail on the head that it's another form of male centeredness. It's a way of like embodying the Jezebel spirit, right? Kind of being like, if I become this seductress,
Yeah,
if I get what I want, then I'm playing this role and I'm powerful. True power is to not want it, it's to kill your need for it and be like, if something comes along and he sees me as a person, slim
a
chances.
person.
Like, yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
then yeah, like don't wait for that. Don't hold your breath. But that would be the route to totally free yourself of it, not enter into these mind games because that gets into like witchcraft and stuff. But we might have to do a part two because I love this conversation.
Me too.
We had a lot of dude talk on here the past couple of guests, but I just think it's so important because with everything going on, I was like, do I still want to do this feminist work or do I want to switch to the greater revolution? Do I want to switch to Black unity? Do I want to switch to the larger story? And I was like, mm-mm. Because we still have to get free from this. And once you can free yourself from this very like oppressive, especially for Black women, we're double minorities. We feel it everywhere. Like it feels like intense spiritual warfare right now. And I would love to share the plight of what we're going through, to garner empathy and have the oppressors let up. That ain't happening. So we just gonna strengthen the women and help them reclaim dominion. I love that name.
Well, yeah, I think, and I've said this on my lives, that like I know I have privilege, like generations before me, like before, my dad could have institutionalized me,
Mhm.
because I wouldn't have my own autonomy and agency to say what I want and speak about patriarchy and all that. He would be like, shut her up. I mean,
Yeah,
he knows what I do and he doesn't believe that, but if he wanted to, in
yeah,
previous times, he could have. And so I
yeah,
know I have privilege in the ability to be able to do this, and I appreciate it. And like
yeah,
my grandmother, when she was 14, she was married off to someone in his 30s, so like, and she didn't even know what sex was. He had to
yeah.
take her on their wedding night back to her mother. She said, my mom won't let me do this. And she told me this story herself. And so he took her back to her mother and said, explain to her what we're about to do.
Wait, how do you do that without feeling like a total pervert?
This is what he wanted. Obviously, why would you choose a 14-year-old as someone in your 30s? He knew what he was doing. And so, I know she ended up not, and she told me, she said, I was so stupid. She was in her 90s, but said this, I was so stupid. The older woman took my husband off of me. I was like, Nanny, you weren't stupid. You were a kid, one. And he was a slut. So he couldn't even keep it in his pants. And so he cheated on
Did
her.
you call him a slut?
Yeah, he was. And so he was sleeping around with other women and he ended up leaving her. And so with a child, she got pregnant at 14, had her first child at 15. And so she ended up getting remarried, later in life. Not later. She was like in her early 20s. But anyway,
Like appropriate age,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So anyway, my point is that my great grandmother didn't have the ability to do this. My grandmother didn't have the ability to do this. She did marry my grandfather because she loved
Yeah.
him, but it was completely different times. Like, so I do appreciate and I do acknowledge and realize that it's privilege, that I was
Yeah.
not forced into marriage and was not
Yeah.
forced and pressured and sold.
Yeah. But, that might be a real reality for our children, for the next generations, for wherever we're going w- with what's happening in this country. I'm trying to be vague, so, but that's kind of the direction we're going with trying to police women's bodies and rolling back laws and stuff. It's almost like we're getting there, and it's like, how do we teach our daughters to fight from this? So I think that's a good message. Yeah, so this is important work. I love the title, I love the name, Reclaiming Dominion, because plot twist, we were all given dominion, man and
Yep.
woman. And
Yep.
yeah, it wasn't just a mandate for Adam, we all rulers up in here. So you can find Angela on TikTok at Reclaiming Dominion. She goes lives and have and goes live and has these conversations, polite discourse about feminist toxic topics and the plight of women. Anything else you want to share?
No, that's it. It was a great talking to you. And
Yeah, we'll have to have you back.
yeah, I'd love to come back.
Yeah, and I have Whiskey Nights podcast, which is behind my paywall, so we can like really go in.
Okay, okay.
But anyway, thank you all for joining this discussion. I hope that this was good insight for you into what women are kind of working with right now. We're struggling, but we're putting up the good fight to remain strong, because whatever's on the horizon, we will all need our mental strength, we will need our emotional intelligence, and we will need to learn how to get along with each other. So the work you are doing is very important. It's very important for us to have like polite discourse, to understand what it is to disagree and talk stuff out until there's resolution. So I'm praying for a resolution on all fronts. This has been episode 10 of the Everybody Can't Go podcast. Shout out to Logic and iRant Network. We appreciate you, and to all a good night.
Good night.
Everybody